Now, one of the most popular Christmas traditions throughout the world in the past few years has got to be the elf on the shelf. And this year, the elves have been very busy travelling all over the UK. And I'm pleased to say that the creators of Elf on the Shelf, Krista and Chanda, join us now. Welcome to our Christmas special.
Thank
There
you.
you go. So excited to be back. Thanks for having us.
Good to see you, and I can't believe it's been a year since we last did this.
Me either. It's crazy, but it's so good to see you.
Now, the elves have been extremely busy this year. They've been all over the UK.
They have. They've been
Yes.
all over the UK. In fact, Giant's Causeway was one appearance for the elf, and honestly, all over UK, Ireland, Scotland. The elves have been really busy this season.
Now, remind us about the story of where the elf on the shelf came from, because this was kind of like a family tradition, wasn't it?
It was. So we grew up with this tradition of an elf that visited our home from the North Pole. And the elf would watch during the day and report to Santa Claus at night. And then in the morning, before we woke up, we would race each other out of the bed, of course, to try to be the first to spot the elf as it returned back from the North Pole where it had reported to Santa. So it was just a magical part of our childhood. It was 25 days or more of just magic and fun and sheer delight and giggles. And so when we grew up, and I had children of my own, of course, I wanted to do this tradition with them. And there was nothing like it. There was nothing similar. And my background is in education. I taught school for 6 years. And so I sat down with mom. We got Santa Claus's permission. And we said, hey, can we write this story about the elf? And he said, yes. And so we wrote The Elf on the Shelf, my mom and I, based on our own family tradition. And then we couldn't get anyone to publish our little story. Santa sent all the elves. And so really it became us selling it, out of our car and starting our own business and convincing people that this would be a magical tradition for their family as well.
And did you ever imagine that this would become a worldwide thing?
It's pretty cool. I
It
mean,
is very cool.
we imagined, because we had experienced it as children, just how big and how magical it could be for families, children of all ages. Now we're seeing kids at university who want one for their dorm rooms and in their apartments and in their own homes. And it just goes to show that the magic of childhood, the wonderment of this time of year, is something that you don't want to lose, no matter how old you are. And so I think because we experienced it in our own lives as young people, we absolutely saw what it could be. Now, making a business out of it was something that takes a little bit more time.
And what about the elves' cheeky little face? Was that based on anybody in particular?
Yeah, so it was my sweet, precious little son. He had just this little elf face, and it was just the perfect look-alike. So of course we had to ask Santa Claus. We said, "Hey, are you happy if all your elves look a little bit like this guy?" And he said, "Well, they already do. It's not a problem." So yeah, I mean, it's really fun because a lot of people. My son is 23 now, and a lot of times people literally call him the elf on the shelf. They're like, "Aren't you the elf on the shelf?" So it's super cute.
And you must be surprised by some of the lengths that people go to and how creative they're actually being with the elves.
The elves are super creative. I
Mhm.
think we are blown away every year by the things we see these elves do and get into, and the hijinks and the cheeky mischief. And so it's a lot of fun. I think, again, as parents, we're busy. But everything about the holidays is busy,
Yeah.
right? As a parent. And so I think you're going to do whatever it takes to create those moments for your children. And it's what makes the holidays special for all of us.
Now, the elf on the shelf has become a modern Christmas tradition, but I was reading online the other day that some guy said that the elf on the shelf is taking it away from all the other Christmas traditions and they're dying out because of the elf on the shelf.
I think really you do what works for your family. As a family, we've adopted all sorts of new traditions because it's just something that my children and family enjoy. So, for example, we have a Christmas cookie decorating contest every Christmas Eve. That's not something we grew up with, but it's something my family has really embraced and enjoyed. And hopefully my children will carry that on. But I think what makes a good tradition is that it works for your family. But our family still attends church on Christmas Eve, and we still embrace the ones I think that are most important for our values and for our families.
For those people who are grinchier than others,
Scrooges.
I would say take it up with Santa. I mean, you have got to just take it up with Santa and do what is right for your family. It's about joy and magic and being a part of something. So for me, your holiday special is about joy. And if you don't want to have pigs in a blanket, then just don't eat them. Fill them with broccoli and carrots, and you'll enjoy every bite. And that's your family tradition.
And do you have any big plans for 2025?
Yeah, so we are so excited. Next year, we are launching our first ever chapter book. So it's really sort of how Santa meets the elves. It's the entire background of how he starts to become Santa Claus. So we have that big announcement. We'll also be celebrating our 20th anniversary as a company, which is absolutely crazy. We weren't sure we were going to make it this far, but
still not
somehow,
sure.
yeah, somehow we did. So next year promises to be a really special year of celebration.
Well, as always, it's been lovely talking to you both. Thank you so much for joining us, and have yourselves a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Robin. Great to see you.
Thanks, Robin.